Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Teal Garcia, and today we're going to do some editing. Today I wanted to walk you through how to do kind of a dark and moody edit on a photo. And this isn't going to revolve around any certain presets or anything. I believe that you can take these steps and turn just about any photo that you're wanting to into a dark and moody edit. While I do think it's important to shoot your photos with the intention of them being kind of a moodier edit, you probably can use these steps to turn just about any photo into a moody edit. But I do want to point out that, like this photo that we're going to be doing, you need contrast in your photo to edit dark and moody. You need some lights and some darks. A photo that has a lot more highlights than shadows in it is definitely going to be a little bit harder to turn dark and moody, but you kind of learn that as you go. So this photo we're going to focus on, it's a great photo. This photo, if you look at it, there's highlights and there's shadows and there's midtones. It's a well-balanced photo right out of camera. I think the misconception with dark and moody photos is that you have to underexpose everything. So sure, I like to underexpose, especially when I'm dealing with like backlit photos or something like having to later recover the sky. Absolutely, I'm a huge fan of underexposing photos, but you don't have to use an underexposed photo. It is still always great to get your photo perfect in camera. Like this one, for example, there's nothing wrong with this photo. This photo is really great right out of camera. So this is the one we're going to use. I am going to use a preset for this, but I want to point out that it doesn't matter what preset you use for this because the preset essentially is really just going to be about your color toning and a lot less about getting that moody feel. So obviously I think when you think moody, I think like warm golden tones, of course. So the preset that I would pick would be that one. And for these photos, I actually used my Wolfpack presets. Again, I use those a lot and I know they're not available and I'm sorry about that, but just pick something that's kind of warm and tones your, like for this, I needed something warm, tones the greens down, whatever. So that's the preset I'm using. They always have grain, so I'm going to take that out. And that preset kind of made everything very green. So now I'm just going to like fix the photo as I would if it was any other photo, dark and moody or otherwise. I need to fix the colors. So she's looking a little washed out. Let me warm her up. That looks nice. I'm going to push the magenta just a hair because I think she looked a little green. Okay, so I like the way that this looks. However, the only thing I don't like is that she's kind of bright and the background is still a little brighter than I want it to be. So I'm going to take the exposure down. And I'm going to take the exposure down until I like the background, not necessarily her. Okay, I like that. Now what we're going to do, we have to bring her back essentially. So I'm going to go down here to my hue and saturation sliders. These guys right here. And we're going to go to luminous and use this little doohickey here. And we're going to pull up her skin tone. And as you can see, it was just pulling up the oranges. And again, I still think she is a little bit cool still, so we'll warm her back up. All right, kind of overall, I really like the way this is. I do want to play with her dress. So for, I just kind of got to fix things that the preset messes with first, and then I'll show you some more tricks. So saturation, I want her dress to pop a little bit more. There we go. I brought that back up. Okay, so as we're standing, like from the start, if you look at these, like we have a nice moody edit. Like we're already there, right? But there are a few other things you can do. And it's not necessarily something I would do on this photo, but I just want to show you a few other things that you can do. So let's say you wanted some more darkness back here in the grass. You can use your brush tool, and you can kind of paint in where you want things darker, maybe around her, like a little bit vignette vibe. You can turn that down. If you wanted to warm the grass up some, you could. So that's something that you can do. You can also run a, let's see, I'll delete that and I'll show you what else you can do. Delete. You can also run like a radial tool if you want to get some of those sides a little bit darker. Turn the exposure down, warmth up, whatever you want to do to it, contrast, whatever. Again, it's not really something I would do in the photo, but that definitely helps. Again, you have to be careful with like that vignette kind of look. You have to do it very subtly, obviously, but yeah, I think that looks great. Okay, so as far as Lightroom goes, this is as far as I would take this in Lightroom. And then the next thing I would do is open it in Photoshop. Okay, so now we have our photo in Photoshop. And if you've watched any editing videos with me whatsoever, you'll know that I take everything into Photoshop just to kind of finish things off. And these aren't steps you necessarily have to do in Photoshop. It's just I learned Photoshop first, and that's where I'm comfortable with things. So the first thing I always do in Photoshop is balance out my levels. So what I do here is I open up a levels layer and I pull these little side ones in. And obviously I don't need to pull the darks in, but as you can see, this pulls in the shadows. So if you have any presets that wash out the shadows a lot, this kind of brings it back. Again, you can do it in Lightroom. This is just where I'm comfortable. So this is my highlights too. As you can see, it just kind of like brought up my highlights, and what that does, it just adds contrast back into the photo. I really like contrast. I really like color. Dark and moody doesn't have to mean like dark and like muddy and washed out. I actually get compliments a lot how I still manage to do dark and moody without things being muddy, and that is one of the reasons, is making sure that your contrast is where it needs to be. We'll flatten that down, and essentially that's it. Like, I'm pretty happy with that edit. I do a few little color things in here. I run a few little actions that I have. I've been asked about these actions and if it's something I would ever like sell. I don't think so. I don't know really. I've never really thought about it, but there's a flatten and sharpen. I can warm it up a little bit more if I want. That looks really good. All right, so that's it. That is my finished edit. Super easy. File, and we'll go File, Save, and we'll pull this back over into Lightroom, and I'll show you the before and after. Okay, there you have it. There is the before and after of that photo. As you saw, it's super simple. We started with a well-lit photo, a photo that was pretty good right out of camera. And there you go. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pop up on the screen a few more. I'm going to edit this photo with a few different presets. And the reason I'm going to do this is because I get comments all the time, well, it's the presets you're using, or I can't do that because I only have these presets. I'm going to edit this photo with 3 or 4 different presets to show you that the color toning might be a little bit different, but you can still get the same edit with a different preset, because you should really just be treating presets like color toning. There shouldn't really be a whole lot of, contrast or anything, in my opinion, added with presets. You should just treat it. So if the preset you love does color toning that you like, and also messes with too many shadows or too much contrast or clarity or whatever, you can always remove that. You can take it down a notch. You can, fix it. Just pick a preset that you like the color toning and go with that. Fix your exposure, make sure that your subject and your background have really good contrast, and you're good to go. Alright, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed, please do so. If you have any questions about anything we did here, let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye!